welcome to another episode of Bill Has Opinions, your can't miss Bill shit. I'm Laura Lavoie, and I'm here with Bill Perkins, who has opinions.
I do. Brought them with.
I think they're naturally occurring.
They are. It is true. It is a naturally occurring side effect of having me around. Yeah.
Well, good then. I see you are back at the lake. I mean, considering you're not here at my house.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. We went over that.
Well, yes, I figured that out, but I'm just naming it for the viewers who might be like,
in case you're wondering, where is Bill? Bill's sitting in a camper at the lake. That's what Bill.
Where in the world is Bill San Diego?
That's right. In
South Carolina is the answer to that question.
Yes. Lake Kiowee, which is a nuclear power reservoir. I guess not reservoir, cooling lake for a nuclear power plant.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Just where you want to swim.
I mean, I grew up near one of these, so I'm not really, it's funny. I've gone through this wave of how I feel about nuclear. Like, it's honestly, of all the types of crappy power, it's probably the best of those. You know what I mean? Like, it's better than coal or petroleum or whatever.
Sure.
I know it's got some side effects, but its side effects are honestly probably less bad than some of the other ones. So they're not.
Well, if you can keep them from melting down, you're doing all right.
Yeah, as long as you do that, as long as you keep them cool, which is the purpose of this lake. And the lake water is always warm. That's right, because it's always heated.
Well, good.
Yeah.
So, what else have you been up to? Anything exciting?
What did I do? Well, I told you before the show that I drove down to Columbia, South Carolina to see my mother for Mother's Day, late Mother's Day. I went out to lunch with her. I went to Red Robin. Had a good experience at Red Robin for a change. I haven't been in several years, but I quit going because I'd have lousy service every time I went. And
sure.
And they were giving me like free meals because they would say, "How was your visit?" And I'd say, "It sucked, honestly." And they'd go, "Oh, we're sorry to hear that. Here's a ticket for a free meal." And I'd be like, "Okay." And I'd come back, and then they'd be like, "How was that?" And I'm like, "It's just about the same." But this time, honestly, they had their shit together, and I was happy. And they've always made a good. My beef was never with, pun intended. My beef was never with their burgers, which were delicious, and they have like a multitude of them, and they were always good. But I just didn't care for their lousy service. But this time it was better, so I had a good time. How was your weekend? What'd you do? Anything fun?
I mean, we had cocktails with the neighbors on Saturday. I seem to think we did something Friday, but I don't remember what.
Did you go to that market thing on Saturday?
Oh, that's right. Yeah. The dark market.
The dark market.
At a local brewery.
And did you purchase any slaves, or what is the dark market?
No, that is absolutely not what it is. No, it was an occult market kind of thing. That kind of dark market. So like lots of taxidermy, mounted bugs.
My wife's looking at me like I meant something else, and I meant like the dark web. Like that's the illusion I was making. Like the
like human trafficking.
Well, yeah, just whatever happens on the dark web. It's not just human trafficking, it's drug sales and all kinds of firearms and whatever, illicit shit. I was making a joke about the dark market being like the black market or the illicit shit, right? Anyway, that's what I meant.
It wasn't.
Yes, it wasn't that. Sorry.
Well, just if I had a laugh track, I'd play it, but I don't.
Oh, well, that's okay.
But no, we did that. That was fun, and then I drank with the neighbors on Saturday, and then went to a friend's house for dinner on Sunday. So pretty low key. This week is also low key, and then next week, which is also the holiday, like we have something going on every freaking night. So I'm kind of like,
so I want to
chill this week, like conserve my energy for next week.
Yeah, I got you. Try and get a few winks in because you're not gonna do it next time. All right,
correct. But so, what are you drinking? What do you got there?
I got Fat Tire. Which is now a lager, right?
It's not a lager.
What is it?
We had this conversation before. It literally says on the label, ale.
Ale, okay. Low impact.
A beer cannot be a lager and an ale at the same time.
Oh, it says Fat Tire Ale. Great. Okay. Well, whatever. It's not an amber anymore. Whatever it used to be, right?
Yeah, it's basically they turned it's still kind of an amber, but they turned it into a session. So they made it just lighter and fluffier.
It says it's high quality and low impact.
Yeah. Which it used to not be. It used to be really, really malty and really, really, sweet.
This was a settle for because we had to go buy beer a while ago, and the closest thing was a Walmart in Pickens, South Carolina, and there wasn't a huge selection. They had a few of the Voodoo Rangers, which are all disgusting now.
Unless you get 1985.
Juice Force and Juice Force 5 and I don't know, and Lisa and Colt Jam with Juice Force. I don't. They had those weird ones. I didn't want any of them. I looked at this. There was a Kona Big Wave. It said Kona Big Wave, and then it said Aloha something. It never anywhere on it said what kind of beer it was, and so I was like, well, I don't know what that means. Oh, it says like Aloha flavor, and I'm like, Aloha ain't no flavor.
If I recall correctly, it's either a lager or a blonde ale.
It's a blonde. I actually pulled out Untapped finally. I was like, okay, well, this will tell me what it is because it's like you're being vague. Stop being vague. I don't. So I pulled out Untapped and I was like, it'll clear it up, and it said blonde, and I was like, because blondes, they're close to a lager, but they're a little like sweet lager kind of is what they're. You know what I mean? They're
they're ales.
Whatever they are, I don't like them. They're okay, but they're not my, they're a settle for also. I almost bought some Stella, and then I was just like, Fat Tire, that's good. Okay, I'll get it. So anyway, sorry, too much on that, really, but this happens to you because sometimes you'll be like out of your market and you're in a weird spot and you're trying to find something, and it's like, you gotta figure out where you're at with it.
So, right, you just got to get the best of the worst available.
Exactly.
Yes, exactly.
So it was really a toss-up between Fat Tire and Stella. And I drank a lot of Stella over the last week because I'd go places and that was the best thing they had, hotel bar or nightclub or whatever. And they'd be like, oh, well, I guess that's what we're doing. Okay.
Right. Well, I've got Matt actually brought this back. He was just went out to Charlotte with you the other day, and he brought back the Lake James Lime Lager,
right?
Which is from Fontaflora Brewing, and super delicious.
That's a good beer. I like that one.
Yeah, it's really, really, really
good. If they had that at Walmart, I would have bought it.
Well, and at our friend's house for dinner yesterday, they had the Highland Lime Cerveza, which is their Mexican lager with lime, and it was a lot like this. This is a corn lager, so it has
that one.
Cerveza.
Okay. I had somebody's, what is it? I think I had Oscar Blue's one, which is called like Moss Lime or something like that. I don't know. It was awful. It's too lime. It tastes
too lime.
Yeah, it tastes like one of those it's like the Budweiser lime or something is what it tastes like. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Like it's like just like a malt drink with lime in it or something. I didn't like it. I was like, this is not good.
Right.
I went to a play on Saturday night. Was it Saturday night? Yeah. No, Friday night. Sorry, Friday night. I went to a play. We had the grandkids were in The Little Mermaid out at the little playhouse around the corner.
That's awesome.
That was cute, and they had beers at intermission, but that was what I picked, and I was not happy. So anyway.
I'm very sorry to hear that. But after the lime, I've got the Shadow Gazer again.
Oh yeah,
that
looked good.
Dark lager. So
that looked good.
Yeah. So
that's what we're drinking. Yeah. All right.
Show over.
Yeah,
that's it. We're done.
That's all we got to say about that.
No. Well, no. What we do have a lot to say about though. This episode, I guess we could call it a very special episode. Bill has opinions. It's basically all opinions. I mean, it always is. But in this case, it's just I'm going to let you run with some things in the hopes to get some clips I can put on reels.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
that's the goal.
We're trying to create clicks. This is all
Yes.
This episode's total clickbait. All right.
Totally. So the episode is hot takes. So I guess, I don't know if there's much of a monologue, but why don't you give us...
I got a monologue about that. I remember when I was a kid and my mom would take me to McDonald's for hotcakes. They were delicious at the time. I don't really like them anymore because I don't think they're high quality, but you're a kid, you're undiscerning. Oh, wait. Hot takes. Okay, no. Yeah. I don't know. Anyway, McDonald's is too expensive to go to anymore. Like, you might as well go to a sit-down meal somewhere because that shit's expensive.
Yeah.
And that's true of any fast food place, but especially Zaxby's. Like, you might as well just go to any sit-down joint before you go through the drive-thru at Zaxby's because that place is crazy. I swear to God, it'll be $47 for 2 people, Like, just don't. Okay, that's a hot take for you.
That is a hot take. Yeah, I figure if you're going to spend that much money on food, it should be food that doesn't make you feel sick as soon as you get home.
That's my thing, I'm
well,
it's mostly that I have like the regrets. Like a lot of times if I ever go to a fast food place, I immediately, like as soon as they hand me the bill, I go, oh, well, I have the regrets now because I could have got a real meal somewhere for that, And I never feel that way. Like if I go someplace where it's like $80 a meal, I might go, shit, yeah, I'm broke for the rest of the week or whatever. But I don't ever go, but that was, like, I had a terrible meal,
Right.
I oftentimes at the $40 price point feel that way. And especially if I go to some fast food joint, then I'm like, well, that's terrible. But anywho, let's see. I'm trying to remember what my hot takes were that we were going to touch on.
We got all kinds of them.
All right.
Do you want to dive in here? Let's do our station break and we'll dive into a few.
Let's do it.
Well, before we do our official station break, I do want to point out that we recently acquired a new spokesperson.
Okay.
So everybody should be very pleased to know that Bill Has Opinions is now sponsored by King Charles III. Titled We Are Not Amused. I figured I needed to make some sort of something before the meme got sweaty.
Burned out. Okay, yeah.
So I made something.
All right.
But in reality, what we want to tell people to do is send us some money in exchange for goods.
Oh, you didn't want to use one of those fine ads that I had AI generated this week?
Oh, I didn't. I didn't. I forgot.
Okay.
Here's what happened. I forgot.
All right.
But what was it? Bill Has Opinions cured my gout.
Yeah. It was basically like buy our shitty merchandise for a gout-free life or something like that.
I'll make one of these days.
Yeah.
Get into Canva and make something. But in the meantime, scan this QR code, send us some money. You'll get T-shirts or posters or postcards or whatever you want.
$250 level, you get the tote bag and the coffee cup.
Well, at $250 level, you get however much of our merchandise costs $250.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. It sort of, you can probably get those things plus some other stuff.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah. No, that is the thing about NPR. While I love NPR, I actually have certainly donated to it from time to time, but I'm like, I paid $50 and I got a coffee mug. Yeah.
I don't donate it at the level where I get their random crap, and it's fine with me, or honestly, because I don't really want the random crap, but because I give a little bits here and there, but it's all good, They're worthy, but so are we. That's all I'm saying.
I do actually donate to HRC usually once a year to get some of their random crap, but I actually use it. Like I have a water bottle that is seriously my favorite water bottle.
Oh yeah? Well,
yeah.
Do you use it? Do you hydrate? Do you stay hydrated?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I use the water bottle.
All right.
Whether I stay hydrated or not is a whole separate conversation.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So you drink some water, but probably not enough is what you're saying.
I drink some water is the end result of that.
I got you. Okay. Well, that happens to me. I don't drink enough water, and I'm aware of it. I'll own that. I start off my day drinking coffee. I probably have a little water around noon, and then I switch to beer after I get off work.
Yeah, your kidneys are gonna love you.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. Also, Jay, go buy a Stay Shitty coffee mug. Like, you can pick from four designs. I can see the
correlation because a coffee mug will help you stay shitty.
That's true.
Way,
That's true.
It'll keep you regular. So
it is correct.
Okay.
All right. So, I've got some hot takes and all.
If we don't have those on the market yet, make it happen.
What, the coffee mugs?
Yeah. Do we have them?
I think so. Okay. When I went in and put everything on the market, I think I literally just checked all of the boxes.
Make it so. Yeah.
Just whatever you want, you could buy.
Okay.
I think you could buy a shower curtain if you wanted to. Oh my gosh, yes. We should cosplay Bill Has Opinions one night. We need 4 people, and everybody gets to be one of the animals with the hat.
She didn't mean to say shitty posters.
Yeah, I mean, I'm for it in whatever form of expression we do.
Okay.
Capes, indeed. I got you. Capes. All right. So I have some. You just sent me some ideas. I don't really know what your rants are going to be. So I just wrote down keywords that hopefully will jog your memory.
All right.
So the first one I have is Texas Hold'em.
Texas Hold'em. All right. I got problems with this song. Not for the same reasons as the average white guy on the internet. Okay. More power to Beyonce. I hope she has the #1 country album this year. I hope she wins an AMA or whatever it is,
CMA.
CMA. Sorry. I hope she wins a CMA. I hope she has the #2 country album after Orville Peck in the country. But that being said, the song Texas Hold'em sounds to me like it was written by AI. And that is to say, it sounds like every other thing on country radio. So kudos to you, Beyonce.
Yeah, I mean, if she's writing for an audience, she achieved it.
Right. I think it's horrible, but for that audience, it's probably just fine,
Well, for that audience, except that audience, even though it's exactly what they want to listen to, like all their other music sounds exactly like that, they won't listen to it because it's Beyonce.
Right, yeah.
Because racism in America.
If they weren't told it was Beyonce, like she should have released it under a pen name like Chris Gaines or something.
The actual pen name should have been Chris Gaines.
She should release an album called Chris Gaines, part 2.
But nothing would be, oh, hi, Toast.
Oh, but that was a country artist releasing an alternative album, wasn't it?
It was, yeah, back in the day.
Yeah. So I don't know, but I'm just saying, the whole thing. Anyway, that's my take on that. That's my hot take on Texas Hold'em. I don't like the particular song. I haven't heard the rest of the album. It might be all right. But that song.
I've heard a few songs. Some I like, some I don't.
I don't think people should cover Beyond Jolene anymore. I hear it too much, and I don't want to hear it anymore.
Well, she didn't cover it. She wrote like what's it called in hip hop, a response track?
Oh, okay.
It's basically a response.
Actually, that's a thing that used to happen in country music too. If you go back and look, hit country songs used to have a response song like 3 weeks later. Somebody would write a song from the other. Speaking of, I sent Laura a link to a song this week called Dave.
Oh my God, Dave.
And it was like the reversal of Jolene, and it was like Dave, please don't sleep with my wife.
But it actually led me to go to the Instagram page of that artist, and now all of their songs are that funny, and it's
you like them. Yeah.
Well worth it. Now I couldn't tell you who it is.
That popped up in my feed, and I just thought it was hilarious. So
it's pretty funny.
I was like, this is funny. But I will say, because my wife owns a restaurant that is also a music venue, and 1 out of 6 artists that comes through there does a cover of Jolene, and I'm over it. You know, just
That's
please.
we went to see Dar Williams a couple of weeks ago, and our friend Sarah that was there, and she's from upstate New York, so Dar Williams in the 90s was what people listened to, right?
Yeah.
And she worked at a coffee shop, and they would do open mic nights, and every night multiple girls who just learned to play guitar would come in and sing Iowa. And like at some point she just had a sign on the stage that said no Iowa.
Right.
Please,
yeah.
if you're gonna play Iowa, keep going.
Yeah. I get it, because you know, I mean, I've heard that there are clubs that say you can't play Wagon Wheel anymore, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I get that, although at the Purple Onion we don't see a lot of Wagon Wheel. I might have heard Wagon Wheel twice. Here's the things. I actually have a list of songs I hear covers of often at the Purple Onion. One is called Shady Grove. Okay.
Yes.
It's a folk or bluegrass number called Shady Grove.
Yeah, it's a traditional blue, folk, Appalachian folk song.
Yeah, that one pops up all the time.
But the Grateful Dead did a cover of it, and that's one of the reasons it's popular.
Yeah. Also, there was also another psychedelic band called Quicksilver Messenger Service, which I used to have that LP. The album was called Shady Grove, so I'm familiar with it from like psychedelic 60s music. But it comes up quite often at the Purple Onion, and I don't like it. And then, I mean, not that I don't like it, but you get tired of hearing the same thing over and over again. I don't want to hear 7-8 takes on the same song. Other ones, Harvest Moon by Neil Young, surprisingly, comes up a lot.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
Although I think the problem with that one is Melissa Hyman, who is in every band. I think she's the linchpin of the "We Play Harvest Moon" as a cover. any band where Melissa Hyman is a member of that band, and I'm not joking, she's in like 15 bands. It's crazy. Because I think I've seen like Tina and Her Pony play it, and I think I've seen The Moon and You and Minaj. They've all played this song, and then I'm like, okay, I get it. It's a Melissa thing. All right. So anyway.
And I like that song, but to be fair, I don't like any other song that he does.
That album?
No, any other song at all
By
that he's
Neil
ever
Young.
performed in the history of performing.
Or you don't like any other song at all? You don't like songs?
I don't like songs.
I don't like music.
No, who the fuck performs that song? Why can't Neil Young? I do not.
You don't like
not like anything else he plays, but I love that.
Okay.
That's a hot take.
That's a hot take for you. She doesn't like Neil Young. All right. No, I mean, he's definitely he's an acquired taste. He's got a voice that only a mother could love, I'll say,
Yeah. And I mean, there's lots of artists that I love that other people don't love. So I'm fine with that.
Yeah. No. Shit. What else? There was one other. I feel like there's one other song. Where's my list at? Here, hold on. Notes. Where are my notes at? Where's my? Shoot, I have so many lists. Oft covered songs at the Purple Onion. Okay, Harvest Moon. Oh, Summertime. Oh gosh, Summertime.
From Porgy and Bess.
From Porgy and Bess. That one actually only annoys me if you play it off season. If you play it during the summertime, hi Emily, then it's okay. But if you play it, there's a band that plays it as one of their songs, and they'll do it like even if it's like December, and I'm like, why are you playing that right now? Like the catfish aren't jumping, the cotton's not high.
Well, I feel the same way about Harvest Moon. I don't want to hear that in April.
That's true. That's a fall song. Yeah,
it's
you're
a
right.
Fall song.
Yeah, you play that between September and November, and that's about it, right? Like there's your window.
I have it on my Thanksgiving playlist. I listen to it during that season, and that's it.
Yeah,
it gets put away until next year.
So anyway, sorry. That's my little list of complaints. Those are my hot takes on songs I don't want to hear anymore, and it's only because I hear them all the time. Like every third band that comes through the Purple Onion has one of those songs on their set list, and I'm like, it's some new material, like seriously. I'm about to put the sign up that says "No Jolene, please."
Or do a cover, but do like a weird one. Do something like that nobody would know it wasn't you unless you told us.
Oh,
You know, like Mike Doty does a cover of King of Carrot Flowers by Neutral Milk Hotel. And I had never heard it before. I heard him do it.
Yeah.
I was like, this is a great song. And then I realized it was a cover, and I'm like, holy crap.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, do a cover that's so obscure that people don't go, oh shit, yeah, I know that one. You know, like yeah, they'll think it's an original song. They'll be like, well, that's crazy. What is that? Yeah, yeah.
But then they discover new music in the process.
Right. And yeah, you look it up one day and you're like, oh shit, they didn't even write that. Okay. Yeah, I mean that's fine. That's actually what I'm looking for. I guess I'd like more obscure covers. So there's my hot take. Do more obscure covers, bands. Stop doing the obvious. Okay,
I can get behind that.
Let's move on.
All right. Well, speaking of moving on, from your list and still related to music, you have, and I can't wait to hear what a middle-aged white man has to say, mixed feelings about Taylor Swift.
Oh yeah. It's just so Taylor Swift. Here's the thing with her, like. I don't like people hating on her just because she's like for whatever reason. Like she's female, she writes songs about her breakups.
You know, literally every other artist.
I know. I was talking about this earlier today. I got a coworker who's off today because she went to Vegas to see Adele, and I'm like, I'm sorry, does not Adele not fucking every song she wrote is a breakup song? But does she get shit about it like Taylor Swift does? She does not. I think the problem is Adele she's put out 2 albums over 15 years, right? Which actually is on I know on one hand Taylor Swift is a billionaire, so maybe that's not the best plan. But I say making yourself scarce is a way to endear yourself kind of to people. You know, like I always tell bands like you don't want to play out every weekend in the same town. Like you want to make it so that you only play like once every 2 months. And that way when you do play out, it's an event. Whereas if you play like every week, you know, then your friends will say, yeah, we're going to come see you on Saturday. And then they'll get high Saturday afternoon. And then they'll like roll around. They'll be like, I'm already good and stoned. I don't really feel like going to the club. And they're like, yeah, whatever. They'll play next week. It's fine. You know, that's the attitude they'll have, you know, because they can catch you whenever. So I think there's a thing about supply and demand there. You create demand by limiting supply, like just like De Beers, you know.
Yeah, well, and I think exactly. And I think, and we did talk about this in a previous show that was, I guess, somehow related. But and by releasing a new song or a new album, literal full album every 6 months, that also means that. I mean, she needs an editor. Like, not every song is great because she's just churning them.
Yeah, she's churning shit out. She's like, it's like Stephen King. Like, how many Stephen King novels have you actually read? You know, like
a lot.
Okay,
not a lot lately. Though that's the thing. At one point, like that Stephen King boom that was like the 80s, early 90s.
It was early 90s, I would say. Yeah, like right around 90 to 93. He was churning out like 8 Stephen King novels and 4 Bachman novels a year, you know, and you were like, who's got time for this shit?
And I was reading about, well, I know I read some that were released. I mean, the first one was released in the late 70s and that were released throughout the 80s. And I read all those, but then it started to get like a new book every month and it's just too much. And then I stopped reading, and I've read a handful of Stephen King since, but I never like went back and devoured the rest of the catalog.
Right. Well, you know, I'm just saying there's something to that though, right? Like there's a thing about like creating a scarcity of product. And like you said, like if you're dumping that much shit on the market, is it all quality? You know, like, so back in the day, you know, bands used to, they record as much, I'd say Led Zeppelin probably recorded as much material during their heyday as Taylor Swift, but they didn't release it all until, you know, somebody would go on a drug bender for 3 years, and then the record label would be like, hey, we got to have something. And they go, okay, here's a bunch of shit from the vault. You know, and they released something like Coda, which was, you know, basically just a dump of bullshit that was not good enough for another album.
Right.
You know? But prior to that, they were like very careful. Like these albums are going to have like 10 tracks and they're all going to be hot. Like every track is going to be worthy, you know.
Well, we also live in a digital era, right? The album release is not a thing anymore.
Yeah.
So you can release 12 songs every 6 months digitally. And
Sure.
yeah, it kind of takes away like the pure excitement. I mean, in fact, I absolutely love the new Orville Peck songs that came out, but it's technically an EP because he just released a digital, 6 digital tracks. So
Right.
it wouldn't even be a whole album if a whole album existed.
Yeah. You know who started that was Morrissey. Morrissey was like the first guy who, like, he took him 3 years to record a full album after the Smiths broke up. Like, he released a handful of EPs and then finally had a whole album, you know, and then he like basically just boxed up the last like 3 or 4 EPs and put them together and called it an album or something.
Well, yeah, and an EP is just, it's like, well, it's more than a single and it's less than an album.
Right. Usually 4 or 5 tracks, you know.
Yeah.
But anywho, that's neither here nor so I'm sorry. I kind of got off tangent there for a sec. Sorry. So what I'm saying is everybody badmouths Taylor Swift over the breakup songs. I say no, breakup songs. Listen, pain is art. That's how you write art. And people, I think people shit on her just because, I don't know, like because she's a young woman doing her own thing or something. I don't have any problems with that. I actually like her for those things, and I like that sometimes she does something like I'll read, she gave her truck drivers $150,000 pay or something, and I'm like, hey, good for her. On the other hand, she is a billionaire, and there's no such thing as a benevolent billionaire, really. You know, I don't believe in that. I don't think anybody's got $1 billion without exploiting somebody. You know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't happen. Dolly Parton's not a billionaire, and there's reasons for it.
Well, because she keeps giving money away. She actually keeps giving money away.
Exactly. You know, that's what I'm trying to get at, I guess, is the reason that Dolly Parton is not a billionaire is that she gives money away. You know, Dolly Parton and Jimmy Carter are probably the only 2 real Christians on earth. You know?
I find it really interesting that during the whole football season situation and is Taylor Swift going to be able to make it back for the Super Bowl and she's going to fly on her private jet from all of a sudden the conservative right was really concerned about how much
private jet use.
How much private jet use was affecting the environment.
Yeah. And
they certainly don't care any other time.
No, and I'm like, yes, that is a concern, and you should care. You should care every time Elon Musk gets on a private jet too,
right?
And every time Richard Branson gets on a private jet, you know, like that's concerning. Yes, it bothers me. That's I guess that's my mixed feelings about Taylor Swift. I'm trying to say, on one hand, she does fly around on a private jet a lot, and she does have $1 billion, and she's done some shit like, sue a small restaurant that didn't pay their ASCAP fees or whatever the fuck, that kind of thing. So I'm like, rich people are intolerable. If you want to hate her because she's rich, that's one thing. But hating her because she's female and young and has opinions is another. And I guess that's what I'm trying to get at. Is that there you go. Taylor Swift is liking anybody's problematic, but there you go. Like there's reasons to hate her. They're probably not the reasons that you hate her. If you're she's probably not going to birth the Antichrist with the dude. I'm actually, you got to give it up for her though. I guess her and this dude have been together for probably the longest that we've been aware of one of her relationships. Not that I give a shit about her relationships. I wish I didn't have to know about them, but I do.
But one thing I was gonna part of the whole football controversy, right, was that everyone was losing their mind over the fact that they kept showing her on TV, and I'm like, but nobody lost their minds when at every Lions game people were showing Eminem. Like, yeah, why there's only one difference.
What is it?
I don't know. Is it lady parts?
Anyway, yeah, that's the end of that. I don't want to talk about that anymore. Let's move on.
Well, to briefly segue from that, I think we would be remiss on a show about hot takes not talking about the super hot take from the Kansas City Chiefs kicker, Harrison Butker.
I'm sorry, he's an official kicker? Like he actually is on the team?
Yeah, he's the kicker. He's their kicker.
Here's my hot take was on him is I was surprised to learn that he was an official like member of the team. I thought kickers were like foreign guys who were on soccer teams that you just flew in for one game. You're supposed to kick. They don't do that anymore. That used to be a thing, wasn't it?
No. No, it never has been. Even when the Lions were bad, our kicker was our number one scorer, and he was fully a member of the team in the 1990s.
All right, I didn't think kickers were a real thing. I thought they were just like like pitch hitter ringer guys that came in.
Well, you realize you do need a kicker multiple times a game every game.
I guess
it's not like a special rule where occasionally someone kicks.
You'd think I mean, I don't know. There's times when you're like, why aren't they kicking? And
there are times they make bad decisions not to kick. But either way,
you're within 7 yards of the fucking goal, and you don't seem to be like, and you're on 4th down. Just fucking kick it.
That is true. But sometimes they make poor decisions. But yes, the kicker has to kick either field goals or extra points. So anytime a team scores, the kicker is the person doing that.
All right. Well, okay. Well, anyway, you go ahead and fill us in on the rest of this bullshit with this guy then. I'm sorry.
Well, so he's a
beer out of the fridge. I'll be right back.
What? Do that? So in case you've been living under a rock, this kicker did a commencement speech at a private Catholic college where he went off on, I swear, an unhinged rant that talked about how gay pride was a deadly sin, that just homophobic, transphobic, absolute bullshit. But then to cap it off, and I think we have to acknowledge the fact that he made those statements too, because those are terrible. But to cap it off, he told a crowd of people who are just graduating from university, 50% of which are likely women, that, it's fine that you got this degree and all, but you only have one job, and that's to get married and have children, because that's your true calling. And so I think Harrison Butker's hot take is, are women people?
Yeah.
Like, do we... And then I love on like Twitter, X, formerly Twitter, whatever we're calling it these days, women are responding to like every post the Kansas City Chiefs make, just with absolute nonsense. And one of my favorite was, I was going to buy a jersey, but I don't know if I can. Is my woman money good enough?
Right. Segueing from that, can we talk about the bear for a minute? The bear.
Oh yes. Would you rather meet a bear or a strange man in the woods?
Yeah. Would you?
A bear, 100%, no question.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair. Actually, after watching several videos of tourists coming through the Asheville area, I would say most people would rather run into a bear, because not just women, but most people, because they would like to take their picture with the bear. Nobody ever wants to take their picture with a man. But they see the bear and they're like, let me get this bear out of this tree and take a picture with it, You're
not like, let me get this man out of a tree and take a picture with
No, you see a guy in a tree, you're probably going to be like, I don't know what's wrong with that guy, but let's move on. Let's move right along. Contact. And I was asking Laura, actually, in jest, because the other day you had a bear out in the trash cans that you'd posted.
Yeah.
And I asked, would you rather see a bear rifling through the trash cans or a man rifling through the trash cans? And but then I thought about it for a minute, and I was like, of course you'd want to see a bear, because if there's a man rifling through the trash cans, like, he's probably got severe mental health issues that you don't want to deal with.
It may be more problematic than you want. At least the bear will eventually go away, and you could just clean up the mess, and everyone goes on with their lives. Yeah. The bear isn't going to tell me to smile because I'll look prettier. Yeah. Bear isn't going to do a lot of things.
Right, yeah. You know exactly what the bear is going to do. It's the thing is, the bear is more predictable, and that's what makes it easier to deal with, right? Is that you know what its motivations are. It's
Right.
it's kind of like when you watch The Walking Dead and you realize after about season 5, like, you know, the zombies aren't scary anymore. You know exactly what a zombie's going to do. You know, like,
It's because we're the Walking Dead. That's us. We're the
yeah.
Walking.
Well, people are scary. Like, well, when there's an end time scenario, like, people are going to be frightening, not whatever the fuck else is roaming around. You know, whether it's zombies or radioactive mutant hogs or whatever the fuck. Like, you see that shit, you'll be like, I know what that radio mutant hog is going to do, right? Like, it's going to try and kill me. I'll just go ahead and kill it. But you see human and you're like, fuck, I don't know. Like, should I just kill it preemptively? That seems wrong. Like, it's not in our nature to kill our own species. But on the other hand, I don't know, man. Like, you know, times are tough and shit's weird.
It's weird. Well, and I think what made that you know, thought experiment more interesting than just the experiment itself is that a lot of men failed to understand the assignment. It's not that yes, we know that the bear might kill us. Like, that's not the problem. The problem is, men, you need to do better, and you need to tell your friends to do better, and you need to speak up when you see things that are inappropriate, and you need to not be dicks. Like, that's the assignment, is stop being a dick.
Be less threatening than a bear. That's really all that they're asking.
Right.
Like, if it pisses you off that the woman would rather run into a bear in the woods, then be less threatening than a bear.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, that's not the woman's problem. That's your problem.
Yeah, you're the one who created the situation. Exactly. So yeah, it's funny. I don't know. I thought it was ridiculous. I always think it's ridiculous in general when these kinds of things happen. Anything. And the reaction from, you know, most likely white cis het men, you know, is like to get offended. First off, they're the kind of people who call other people snowflakes, right? But then they get offended because they're perceived as being assholes or whatever, you know?
Right.
And it's like, you know, why don't you just take a minute and think about it? Like, back up and I don't know. And it's not always just even that. Sometimes it's like, I don't know, like somebody's having a thing, right? Like black people are having a thing and you're not invited, and they're like, well, this is not fair. You know, like,
what about white pride? What about straight pride?
Yeah, what about cemeteries for the live people? I don't want. Yeah.
Right. No, I mean, it's the bear argument is the exact argument for the Me Too movement, which then spawned the not all men. And sure, nobody's saying it's all men, but it's enough men that it's a problem.
And that's the thing. And like, why? So if you're the kind of person who has a knee-jerk reaction instead of thinking about it, I feel like while it's not all men, you're probably one of them.
Yeah, if that's your first reaction. Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's not me. I don't do that. And you're like, well, dude, are you sure? You know, like, maybe think about it for a sec, because you got huff and mad real quick about it.
Right. Absolutely. So
I don't understand that whole thing. Like, I can actually deal with it. You know, if I have a black friend who posts on Facebook, hey, white people are fucking assholes, I'm like, yeah.
I do not disagree with you.
Yeah, I'm like, you're 100% right. You know,
we have ample evidence to prove that.
Listen, I can tell you that 100% of the people who ever made my life miserable were white.
That's true. Very true. So to take the bear conversation in another direction, here's a hot take for you. Mm-hmm. People should have domesticated bears in prehistoric times.
Oh, goddamn, yeah, they should. Can you imagine? We would have bears that are 16 feet tall and also bears that are like a foot tall.
Yeah, we would have little tiny house bears.
We'd have little house bears that you could take in a little bag with you to the bar, and you'd have these like. Then you have some macho people who'd have these like giant bears. You know, the government had to like make rules about, like, you're not allowed to own giant bears anymore.
You get like the wild bear domestic bear hybrid, and you're like,
oh my
God, you're super cool.
The worst thing you want is a 16-foot hybrid wild domestic bear. You know, oh my God.
Yeah, but I want teacup bears. I want the bear.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, can you imagine if you had this little bear in a bag and you just like go to the bar and you're like, hey, you want to see my bear? And you pull out a little tiny bear.
But it's just your house bear, and like you cuddle and watch TV at night, and like everybody sleeps together in the same bed.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I know. Why did we pick wolves instead of bears? Like that's you know.
I don't know. Like, I mean, we're actually
would they be a sucky pet like during the winter, like when they don't do anything but sleep?
Oh, because they would just sleep.
Or would they be?
We bred a lot of natural instincts out of dogs too, so that's maybe we.
That is true. You know, yeah, we did breed some weird stuff out of them, but then they still have some. They have some stuff that they do, like they have a natural. Like, so if you ever watch a dog when it's getting ready to lay down and it has to like turn around in circles like 7 times, right, and then like dig up the couch. And I had to look that shit up. I was like, what the fuck is that all about? And it turns out that's like a thing that wolves do before they get like to get comfy. They have to basically like make a bed in the woods or something.
Right.
You're like, but you're not in the woods, dumbass. That's the couch, you know? Like
dumbass.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, bears would probably be like equally stupid and annoying if we had domesticated them. So
that's true. But we're kind of like, it's the perfect match, right? They're omnivores like us. Like we wouldn't even have to, like you wouldn't have to buy special bear food.
That's true. You just feed them table scraps and it'd
just
be
give
fine.
Just part of your dinner every night to your bear.
Yeah, you just be like, here, you want the rest of this? And they'd be like, yeah, I do. Yeah,
because I'm a bear.
That's true. Yeah, they'd be fine with it. You know,
I know they like honey.
Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard that they like honey. I don't know. I couldn't know. That's expensive. I couldn't buy honey for the bear every week.
That's true.
Like that'd be a special treat, like twice a year. You know,
here you go, some honey. Plus, you'd end up with a sticky bear at the end of the like. Now your bear is sticky and your bear needs a bath.
Oh god, yeah. The couch would be ruined. You'd be like, oh my god, you got honey all over the house.
The bear honey prints everywhere.
Yeah.
All right, maybe it's not a good idea.
I don't know. And they probably know how to open the refrigerator too. Like I've actually seen footage of them coming in people's cabins and wrecking the place. You know.
Sure. Yeah, but if it's a teacup bear,
yeah,
if it's a bear,
that'd be the only bear you'd want to own is one that's too small to manipulate like doors and stuff, right?
Right, because I guarantee you, my cat would like bite my throat out if she were bigger. Like at various times, she's thought to herself, "I could murder this person,"
right?
But she can't because she's 7 pounds.
Right. Yeah.
So tiny bear.
Tiny bear. Yeah, no, I'm down. I mean, in theory, I think the tiny bear is a cool idea. I also like the idea of a tiny giraffe, but you know, I would. You remember there was a commercial years ago where a guy had this Russian. I don't know what he was. He was supposed to be like a rapper or something from Russia, and he he had a tiny giraffe, and I was like, oh my god, is that a thing? Can you get that? I would own that. You know.
Because that's what I remember most about that commercial are all the people that thought there were actually tiny giraffes.
Oh my god! I was immediately like, "What is this a thing?" Because I've always loved giraffes. I think they're awesome because they're just so silly looking, but they're huge, you know. So you can't keep one in the house, you know. But if you had one that was like, you know, a foot tall, you'd be like, "Shit, yeah."
A tiny giraffe. All right, so we're going to segue entirely.
Yes, let's pivot.
Because here's one. What I wrote down was 3% raises when rate of inflation exceeds 3% are not raises.
That's true. It's true. You got no raise. You barely got a cost of inflation increase is what you kind of sort of got, but you didn't even get that. And also, if the same company that's doing this is also raising your health insurance by 2% every year, you didn't really get jack shit, did you? You got like a, I don't know, like just a little something to make you not feel as lousy about your conditions.
Well, right. And what's even more frustrating about this is those same companies will post that they had record earnings this year.
Oh yeah. No, I get an email like a week after my lousy raise, you know, tooting their horn about some fucking shit, you know, like we did this or we did that. And I'm like, great. Well, if you're doing so great, then where's my raise? You know, long story short, low key looking for a new job.
No, well, that's fair. That's fair. Hey, as always, if you need help with resume, I can help.
I'm not in a hurry, but I will say, if an opportunity comes along, I'll take it because clearly that's when you get a raise when you leave this company and go to that company. That's when you get your real raise, your actual cost of living raise. It comes from switching companies.
Right. And as a former employer, former recruiter, the best suggestion I can make to anybody is don't base your asking salary on what you previously made. Research what the job pays, research what it pays in your area, and ask for the top because
Fair.
if you can't do the top, they'll negotiate down. But if you don't ask for the top, you won't get it.
Right. Okay.
So
it makes sense.
That's my best advice. That's not even a hot take. That's just good business.
That's just a regular ass take.
Yeah, but it's true that if especially in this whole quiet quitting epidemic, which is just corporate speak for we only gave people 3% raises.
Yeah. And they were sure that they won't work until 6:30, and you're like, but you only gave me a fucking 3% raise. Why should I bust my ass?
Yeah, I'm not gonna do that.
What's it worth to you?
Exactly. But on average, people make 11% more switching jobs than staying at their current jobs. So
absolutely. That's what I'm saying.
And that's average, which means you could make 25% or more than you did before.
Yeah, you got to quit and go somewhere else if you want to raise. That's the long story. Don't be loyal to your company. They aren't loyal to you. They don't give a fuck.
They are not. They are not. All right, and here's one though. I'm gonna throw this out there too. You also mentioned age limit for voting, and here's an interesting hot take I'm very curious about.
Okay. Yeah, my son actually recommended this one to me because I was like I was like having a hard time. I was scraping the barrel. I felt like, although we've covered most of the hour, so Anywho, he was like age limits for voting, and I think he said like a 60-year-old cutoff. I'd probably give you to like at least retirement, 65, 70, somewhere around there. But I do see the point. Like at some point, you're on your fucking way out, and a lot of these people are basically just like shitting the bed. You know what I'm saying? Like elderly people are shitting the bed on their way out. Like they're gonna die, but they're gonna vote for the worst possible outcome for young people who have to live in this fucking world. And so I can see the argument being made for fuck you. You don't get to vote anymore. Just like they took away your driver's license, Granny. They also, fuck you. You don't get to vote because you're just going to make bad decisions. You're just going to vote based on fear and nonsense, and it doesn't matter to you because you're on your way out. So
that's true. Although I find it funny that your son thinks 60 is the age down.
He's only 21 years old. I mean, I get it. 60 looks like old when you're 21,
Right, exactly.
I'm 50 and I'm looking down the barrel at that. So I'm like, I might kick the can down the road a little bit. But I can see at some point, old people seem to get unreasonable. And like, I don't know. I don't know when that.
The biggest issue I have with that is not voting. The biggest issue I have with that is old politicians not recognizing that they don't need to be in power until they literally die.
Yeah.
Especially in our country, which was not founded on that idea, right? We don't have a monarchy.
I know it's an autocracy.
But yeah, I mean, some insanity. First of all, that I'm gonna vote how I'm gonna vote this election, and I feel very strongly about it, and I will actually do some low-key activism to try to get people out to vote because I am terrified of what will happen if the other guy wins. But the problem is those are the guys. Like, why are they running? Why are they still the guys?
I get that the choices are shitty because both guys are old as hell. And so young people feel disenfranchised. And by the way, young people could throw this thing one way or the other.
Yeah, and I'm scared about what way they're gonna go.
Because they might go no way because they don't give a fuck because they're like, well, it's one old guy or the other.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that's how they feel right now, or at least that's what the media is making me think. But maybe things will work out at the end. I don't know.
Well, and it may. I mean, that is one of the things that happened last time is young voters.
Yeah, And also another thing that happened 2 times ago is that people don't always say in the polls what they're actually thinking. Like you never know. So goddamn, who knows? But I'm like, this shit's up for grabs, is what I'll say. And young people, I mean, just think about where you want to be. I guess yeah, both choices are shitty, but one is a lot shittier. So this ultimately, I guess, think about whether you want to vote this one last time or not.
No, exactly. That's
because that's kind of where you're at. That's really where you're at right now. Is do you want to vote ever again, or do you want to say fuck it? This is bullshit. These old guys, because maybe next time you might get to vote for a young guy if there's a next time, but it might not be.
Right. Now, one of my favorite memes from several years ago, I think it was when Alexandria, AOC was running the first time. And the headline was, should we elect more millennials in government positions? And the meme was, given my understanding of linear time, I don't see what the alternative is.
Right? Yeah.
At some point, the millennials will be elected because there won't be anyone else left.
Also, people keep throwing the word millennial around like they mean teenagers.
Well, and this was, yes, and you're correct. Although this was years ago when millennials were still in their like late 20s, early 30s.
Okay, but still, they were fucking grown ass people.
Right. And millennials now and the oldest of millennials are in their 40s.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, yeah. So like we toss that, or I don't toss that word around like that, but like people do say millennial when they mean like youngsters, and I'm like, they're not young, they're fucking grown ass people with problems and children and all that shit, like.
Well, we are starting now to replace it with Gen Z, so the Gen Z is happening.
Yeah, right, but even them are old enough to vote now,
right. Oh yeah, exactly.
So that's what anyway. Yeah.
Anyway, and they should bark, bark, bark.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I hear the barking, and that seems to signal to me that we're near the end of the show.
Okay. What else do we have left? Anything?
We got a couple, but I'm actually going to move some of them to another topic because they can be their own topics.
Okay.
For the future. So yeah, let's see. Do I have anything else here? No, we're going to save that. We're going to save that. Oh, well, here's one that I just want to throw out there as we close the show. A hot take from me as someone who goes to a lot of breweries. Children do not belong in breweries.
No.
Please, for the love of God, stop.
I say this is a person who has children. No, don't bring your kids to a brewery. Fuck that shit. That's like bringing your kids to a bar,
Well, it is bringing your kids to a bar. You are literally bringing your kids to a bar.
Yeah, and I don't mean like, it's one thing if the bar is in a Ferns and Brass restaurant, that ostensibly sells, cheap hamburgers and all you can eat fries or something, but I'm talking like a brewery is like they make beer here. That's what they do. Yeah, fucking leave your kids at home. Either don't leave them at home by themselves. I mean,
yeah, that would be a bad idea.
Be a responsible parent. I think that's part of the problem. Is most of these people, it's these damn millennials and zennies.
Bring it back around.
Yeah.
No, it's. Look, I get it. We all want to go out and have fun, but yeah, when your good time impacts my ability to have a good time, I am no longer down for it. We had an experience at a bar at a brewery the other night where a whole bunch of fuckers in their Clemson shirts were there, and they had a bunch of little kids, and it was a brewery that's made. It's one of the ones that's made out of like old shipping containers, so all the walls are metal.
Yeah. And
this child, who was way too old to be doing this, like old enough to know better, just started pounding on the metal, and nobody stopped him. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, kid!
You guys just over here drinking, going.
Oh, that was me. Like, you think that's definitely me?
Dad was also doing that. He was just looking like, what the fuck is that kid doing? That little bastard, you can't do nothing with them. You can't take them anywhere.
I was also making commentary loud enough that the adults would hear me, but they probably didn't because they were all clueless. But then what made it worse is then the kids are freaking out and they're running around. And one of them touched me as they were running from their table past my table. And I'm like, no, no, no. And then they came around to the other side of our table, which had weird, like that's not your table, and touched Matt. And we're like, no, no, you have to stop doing that. You don't get to touch other people. Please go away. And finally, then the mother said,
"No, you were it now. You were
yes, I was it, and I was not going to be
chase them.
No, we need to stop. And what kills me is all these breweries, and I know why, because they realize where their business is. But they all have family-friendly policies, so there's no stopping it.
I will say that there are a couple of breweries who've leaned into that, and I just don't go. Like, I will never go to Whistle Hop.
Right.
Because Whistle Hop has like a playground essentially. Like they've basically been like, we got trains and a playground. And you're like, all right, fuck that. I ain't ever going there then. Because that's just like I've driven past the place on a Friday night and it's like a madhouse, you know.
It's just children everywhere.
Kids running around going, ah, you know, and you're like, all right, I don't need that's not my idea of a good time at a brewery.
Well, but I also wonder, like, look, you're out drinking with your kids. You have 2 or 3 beers. Are you really okay to drive home? Like, you're driving with your children?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I don't know, man. Like,
so I got a bone to pick with family friendly breweries and the people that go there.
Yeah.
And now there used to be a couple in town that did not allow people under like 18 or 21, but a lot of them gave in probably because it was just too hard to police.
You know what needs that? You need to write a letter to the ALE and make them lean into like kids don't need to be at a brewery.
And just
because ALE's got a bunch of silly rules. Like they got rules like you can't say this bar serves tequila on the outside of your bar.
Yeah. No, they're the insanity.
Right? Like, and that's a fucking like what the hell public service does that serve? Like that I can't know that this bar serves tequila.
Right.
Like, oh, thank you so much for protecting me from knowing what kind of drink I might find in this bar. But like by all means, take your children in there and go ape shit, you know, drink all you want. Nobody cares.
Yeah, luckily I've not seen a ton of children in like, you know, cocktail bars, but I imagine it happens and I imagine it will happen. But I'll tell you, that's one of the reasons I've steered toward like craft cocktails because there are fewer children.
They're less child friendly at the cocktail bar because people with children can't afford a fucking $20 drink. That's why, because they're broke as shit.
Look, I get you want to have a good time, but do not have your good time at the expense of other people. That's all I have to say.
Honestly, I'm surprised they can afford brewery beers. They should be going to like a dive bar with their kids and getting like $3 Narragansetts or something, you know.
I recommend Chuck E. Cheese as an option.
Chuck E. Cheese does not serve a beer though, sadly.
They did. They used to. It used to. Chuck E. Cheese had the highest rates of bar fights among adults.
Yeah, I don't even think that requires alcohol at the Chuck E. Cheese though.
That's true, but I have been to a Chuck E. I mean, not good beer.
No. I mean, it would be like a pitcher of Budweiser or something.
Yeah, that's what you're getting.
Yeah.
And you know what? That's what you deserve.
That's really, it's true. Honestly, a pitcher of Budweiser would still make Chuck E. Cheese more bearable, I think.
All right. We do have to shut this down before I start to get hate mail from viewers. Because
I just want to take one second to mention that Chuck E. Cheese's real name is Charles Entertainment Cheese.
Do I know that? Yeah, the fact that that's a fact, like that's just good stuff. Like
his middle name is Entertainment.
It is. All right, we are done for the night. So why don't you take us away?
All righty. Bill Has Opinions is engineered and produced by Laura Lavoie. The opinions of Bill are his and his alone, unless Laura agreed with him. I don't know what we agreed or disagreed about tonight. I don't know. Whatever. Anyways, vice versa. If you know, be sure to like and subscribe on YouTube and follow us on Facebook and hashtag Opinion Gang or Can't miss Billsh. If you have a comment, question, concern, idea for future show, hot take we didn't mention,
Hot
whatever.
take on our hot takes.
Hot takes on our hot takes. Yeah. You be sure to let us know about it. And tune in again next. Was it next? Are we coming back next week?
Nope, we're off next week for the holiday.
I felt like there was a thing. Yeah. All right. Be
and
sure
then we're
to
back
2 weeks
in
from now.
June. Yes, and
In
I don't know what
June.
the subject is, so we'll figure it out before June.
We'll talk about a thing in June.
We will.
All right. And
all right,
we'll
everybody.
There.
See you later.
All righty.
Oh, hi. I hit the wrong button. Hello, everybody. Goodbye.
Hello.